Today, let's explore how to overcome that inner arrogance and attachment to find a more peaceful life.
You know, a lot of our struggles actually start from within, from these invisible walls we build.
Yep, this wall of self is what separates us from others and from real peace. It just creates friction. So what is arrogance? It's not just thinking you're the best. It's a deep-down habit of putting me first. And this self creates three big troublemakers: greed, anger, and ignorance. They totally block our wisdom.
These feelings pop up right along with our ego, but the key is they aren't who we really are.
Okay, so the first step to changing is huge. We've got to let go of that me versus them mindset.
Think about it. Real compassion doesn't see enemies. That enemy is just a label we've created in our heads.
Check out this shift. Instead of blaming people, we can just try to understand where they're coming from. So, with family, right? Instead of needing them to get you, try to get them first. It changes everything. Same thing at work. A disagreement isn't a battle. It's a chance to find a solution together. And hey, when people get you wrong, you can't control their opinion, but you can control your own reaction.
So how do you practice this? Try these three things daily. They chip away at that inner arrogance.
This all leads to inner peace through three pillars: pure actions, a calm mind, and clear wisdom.
The goal is to become unshakable, centered and calm, no matter what's going on around you.
And here's the cool part. Letting go of me doesn't mean you lose. It means you gain a connection to everything. This quote from Shantideva just nails it, right? Joy comes from wanting others to be happy. It's that simple.
When you change yourself, you start a ripple effect. Your peace inspires people without you even saying a word.
So this is a practice, not just a theory. Let's start now. Who can you do this for today? Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're doing something a little bit different. We're going on a deeply insightful journey into a realm you probably never thought applied to the modern office. Our goal is to take ancient Buddhist mind training concepts and translate them into a highly structured, incredibly practical toolkit for your everyday workplace stress and emotional resilience. Ready to completely redefine your relationship with stress? Let's dive in.
Let's start right off with a really profound paradox. When most of us picture inner peace, we imagine sitting in absolute silence, right? Far away from our emails, our demanding bosses, and those endless deadlines. But think about it. Is true peace really found on a quiet meditation cushion? Or is it actually tested and forged right smack in the middle of a tense workplace conflict? Our sources are incredibly direct here. They say that if your patience and empathy just vanish the second you face everyday friction, well, they're merely empty words. The real test isn't in some quiet sanctuary, it's right in the fire of daily life.
Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the modern stress epidemic, the psychology behind inner peace, the concepts of precepts, concentration, and wisdom, how to actually defeat arrogance and jealousy, and finally, we'll wrap up with your daily practice toolkit.
All right, section 1, the modern stress epidemic. Let's just validate the reality that we all face every single day.
There is a massive paradigm shift we need to embrace here. When stress hits, and it always does, our default instinct is usually flight, right? We just want to escape. We want to book a vacation, log off, and run far away from the pressure. But the data and ancient wisdom suggest the exact opposite approach. What if we completely flipped that? What if we used our daily conflicts, those totally impossible deadlines and frustrating meetings, not as things to avoid, but as the ultimate training ground for our minds? It honestly changes everything about how you perceive an exhausting day.
When we're exhausted and just operating on our default settings, our mind is exactly like this turbulent, chaotic water. Somebody sends a passive-aggressive email, and boom, we instantly react. We get defensive, angry, and frustrated. We're just water splashing everywhere, totally lacking clarity or direction. And we lose all our composure simply because we're completely at the mercy of our immediate emotional reactions. Which brings us to section 2, the psychology of inner peace. How do we actually calm that chaotic water?
Well, we use the concept of Bodhicitta, the mind of enlightenment, generating an altruistic mindset, which is a fancy way of saying you genuinely care about others' well-being, isn't just some abstract, mystical idea. It actually has hard, quantifiable science backing it up. Psychologically, it dilutes that deep sense of inner loneliness and builds a super positive self-image. But physiologically, it's literally a game changer. Shifting your mindset releases beta endorphins, lowers your blood pressure, and actually boosts your immune system. It physically protects you against burnout.
Okay, Section 3. Precepts, concentration, and wisdom. Let's look at the core mechanisms for neutralizing that daily stress.
So how do we operationalize this in a real-world corporate setting? We rely on 3 ancient pillars. First, precepts. That translates to our unshakable professional boundaries and integrity. Doing the right thing, even when it's hard. Second, concentration. This is our emotional stability. It's keeping your focus in your equanimity when you're under absolute fire. And third, wisdom. That's waking up from our own self-centered bubble so we can finally get a much broader, clearer perspective on our team dynamics and shared goals.
The ultimate goal here is this concept of finding stillness within the chaos. The ancient texts actually call it ru ru bu dang. Imagine being like a serene bamboo shoot. You are deeply rooted in the earth, but totally flexible in the wind. So even when your workplace environment gets completely unpredictable, toxic, or stormy, you are anchored. You might bend, sure, but your core remains completely untouched by the panic around you. All right, Section 4, defeating arrogance and jealousy. Let's ground this in a real, everyday scenario.
Picture this, it's a Tuesday afternoon, and a colleague just totally stole credit for your project in a massive meeting. Our sources actually feature a great interview with a senior manager discussing this exact type of intense interpersonal conflict. When asked how to handle it with a peaceful mind, this manager hit the nail on the head. They said you have to overcome the root triggers, our own deeply ingrained arrogance and jealousy. In that high-pressure moment, you've got 2 choices, right? Default to defensive blame and ego, or take the wise approach, shrink the ego. Reframe the success as a collective effort. It instantly removes the internal barriers to your own peace. You stop fighting for the spotlight, and you just start focusing on the actual work. And there's a brilliant 4-step transformation process you can use for this. Step 1. If you are ignored, literally use that uncomfortable feeling to scrape away your own arrogance. Step 2. Praised. Instantly dedicate it to the team. Step 3. Misunderstood. Resist that burning urge to defend yourself in anger. Just let the work speak for itself over time. And step 4, frustrated. View the person frustrating you as a highly effective teacher. Memorize this framework, and I promise you, workplace conflict completely transforms into personal growth.
Now for Section 5, your daily practice toolkit. Let's take all this powerful theory and make it actionable for you, starting today.
Maintaining pure altruism in a cutthroat office is, well, it's really tough. But you can hack it with a simple daily cycle. Step 1 is your morning vow. Before you even touch your phone, set a quiet intention to maintain an altruistic mind for the day. Then, Step 2 is the evening review. Before you go to sleep, honestly reflect. Ask yourself, what did I do for me and what did I do for others? If you messed up, acknowledge it and commit to doing better tomorrow. It's a constant, powerful loop of self-correction. To keep you anchored during the actual workday, here are 3 highly practical checklists. Number 1, pause for 3 seconds before speaking to your family. Because let's be real, home is where we drop our filter and lose our patience the fastest. Number 2, maintain absolute integrity at work, even when you could easily cut corners unseen. And number 3, follow through on your commitments. If you realize you can't, explain it early. Don't hide it and don't make excuses. Finally, you need to commit to a 10-minute daily focus practice. Just take 10 minutes to sit quietly and observe your arrogant or floating thoughts. No judgment at all, just let them pass. Identify one genuine, altruistic thing you can do for a coworker without needing any credit for it. And honestly, you have to ask yourself a brutally tough question. Is my constant busyness just an excuse to avoid working on myself? Because true priorities, the things that actually matter, are never permanently replaced by busyness. That's just a fact. As we wrap this up, I really want you to internalize this quote from our sources. Difficulties are not meant to strike you down, they are the mold that shapes your vow. Think about how incredible that perspective shift is. Every hardship, every unfairly tight deadline, every difficult coworker you encounter, they aren't roadblocks ruining your day. They are the exact tools, the exact pressure being used to forge your ultimate psychological resilience. So I'll leave you with this as you step into your tasks and meetings tomorrow morning. Will you treat your next inevitable workplace conflict as just another stressful obstacle to complain about? Or will you embrace it entirely as your ultimate teacher? The choice of how you respond is absolutely yours. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into inner alchemy. Apply these tools, embrace the friction, and I'll see you in the next explainer.